Hello everyone! Welcome back to another one of John's never-ending list of random things to do. For today's video, I will be working on my 1985 Toyota Celica Supra. I will be showing you guys how I replaced the armrest cover and the shift boot. So let's start with the shift boot first. First, you'll need to remove the shift knob. Go ahead and give it a twist counterclockwise until it completely comes out. At the bottom of the shift boot, there are 4 retainers that hold the shift boot in place. Give it a pull and it should just pop right out. Here's one retainer right here. If you didn't know, the 4 retainers are located here. Now you'll want to remove the rest of the boot from those retainers. And once the shift boot is loose, work one corner out at a time and it should just come right out. Now let's have a closer look at these retainers. There's one here and one on the opposite side. And there's one in the front here and one on the opposite side. Now it's time to disassemble this shift boot. As you can see, I've threaded this one in before. Now just go ahead and remove all of these threads. If your shift boot is held together by glue, all you'll have to do is pull it apart. And with that last thread removed, we can pull these 2 pieces apart. Now all we have left is this metal bracket. If your metal bracket is bent out of shape, or you don't have one at all, you have 2 options. Option 1. Buy the complete shift boot and bracket from JP3 Motorsports. A link for this item will be left in the description below. Or option 2. Make your own bracket, and these are the dimensions. Now here's the old shift boot, and here's the new one. Both of these were purchased on eBay from BonnieBButtons. And as you can see, they are made from quality leather. You'll notice that mine has red stitchings on the outside. Before your purchase, you can ask to see if they have the color you want. Links for these will be left in the description below. Now it's time to put the new shift boot together. Place the bracket over the new shift boot and wrap the bottom portion around the bracket. Then go ahead and stitch it into place. You'll want to take your time stitching, and you should end up with something looking like this. Let's go ahead and flip this shift knob inside out. Now putting them side by side, you might notice that the older shift boot that I had is a lot shorter than the new one. That's because I had folded this portion inside. So I'll go ahead and proceed to fold this portion inside. Well, it's still pretty tall, but over time it should sag and it should be the same height. Now it's time for the reinstallation. Place it over the shifter like so and work one corner in at a time. You'll want to work on one side first. Place it into the 2 retainers on one end, and then work on the other side. And last of all, screw in the shift knob. Then go ahead and fix the shift boot to your preference. That is a beautiful shift boot. And the threads that I sewed in aren't even visible. With the shift boot done, it's time to start on the center console armrest. Now mine is still in pretty good shape, but let's just go ahead and replace it anyway. You'll want to start by pulling it up, and then remove these 3 screws. Once they have been removed, the center console armrest can be removed. So I was debating on destroying this piece here, but since it's in really good condition, I decided not to. Luckily, I had a spare center console armrest, and it's in really bad shape, so let's go ahead and make this one look good again. To disassemble it, you'll have to remove these 6 screws. Now with the 6 screws out of the way, this part can be removed. Now I'm going to remove the fabric to see how it looks underneath. Now that explains why the armrest looks so flat. The foam inside has completely deteriorated. And watch how easily it breaks into pieces. This was pretty disgusting, so I ended up removing everything completely, and this is what we have left. I then cleaned this up using a wire brush, and this is what it looks like now. To replace the foam, I went to Walmart and grabbed one of these. Now you want to make sure it's about 1.5 inch to 2 inch thick. Now the downside to this foam is, it's not that firm, so the armrest won't have that original feel to it. Now Walmart also carried this high density foam, but while applying pressure to it, it felt exactly the same. But your choices aren't limited. Just shop around and you might find the right foam for you. So I ended up cutting the foam down to size. And while applying pressure, it felt pretty good. Now how did I know what size to cut my foam down to? I didn't. I just placed this bracket up here like so, and I cut the foam around it a little bit bigger than the bracket. That way I have some workspace. Then you want to make some markings on the foam, and you want to remove about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom side. If you didn't cut it perfectly straight on the bottom side, don't worry about it. You can go back and touch up on it. Go ahead and smoothen it out as best as you can. Before I proceeded to make changes to the foam, I'm going to get some measurements from the original armrest. So on the top side, it's roughly 4 1/4. And on the bottom side, it's roughly 4 1/2 inches. And with that measurement for the bottom side, I ended up cutting the foam down to 4 1/2 inches. And with the top side measurement, I transferred those measurements over to the foam, made some markings. Then I cut the foam using my guideline, the line from on top and the bottom edge. Go ahead and cut it all the way across. You should have a somewhat tapered look like this once you're done. I'll go ahead and proceed to cut the other side. Now you'll notice this side doesn't look as good as the other side, but it'll still work. Now there's one final touch to the top side, and that's the little slant at the front. I'll go ahead and mark it like so, and then I'll proceed to cut it. Great! Now it's time to do some test fitting. I'm going to reapply the bracket here, press the bracket down, and pull the armrest cover over it. Now let's see how it looks. If you can get the tension across the armrest cover perfect, it'll look nice and squared. If you put too much tension across the armrest cover, you'll end up with something rounded like this. So we're aiming for something that has the least amount of tension, but the least amount of tension means the top portion is loose and sloppier. So to take care of that, I'm going to glue the center console cover onto the foam using this multi-purpose adhesive spray. You can find this at your local Home Depot. You'll only want to spray the top side, so be sure to mask off the sides. Then once you're ready, apply the adhesive. Then you'll want to apply the adhesive only to the top side of the center console cover, and let them sit for about 30 minutes. Once it's tacky like so, they're ready to be applied together. Now you want to do your best to apply it as straight as possible. And the good thing about this adhesive is, if you screw up, it's very forgiving. You can just pull the two pieces apart, then reapply it. This is looking really good already. So I went to get the metal bracket, and notice it had new rust forming. That was due to the oils on my finger, so I cleaned it up again with a wire brush, and I primered it completely. Now I have one final issue. The shiny trims here have residue left from the tape that was used to hold the center console piece together. I ended up using some steel wool. I just brushed it against the trim like so, and it came out pretty good. It's finally time to put these pieces back together, starting with the center console cover and then the metal bracket. Now you want to make sure the side with the nut is up against the foam. The two pieces will be held together using the adhesive spray. You want to spray some on the bottom side of this metal bracket and on the inner flap of the center console cover. Once the two items are sprayed, let them settle for about 30 minutes or so until it feels tacky. Then place the metal bracket in like so, and once you're ready, press down on the metal bracket to compress the foam and pull the flaps over to be applied onto the metal bracket. As a pointer, you'll want to start with the two on the sides and not the front and the back like I did. Now let's see how this looks. As you can see, it looks too rounded. That just means I put too much tension on the center console cover. But luckily, this adhesive spray is very forgiving. So if you mess up, you can always pull the pieces apart and redo it again. I ended up redoing all the flaps. All I did was take it off, allow the foam to expand a little, and reapply the flaps. And this is the outcome. Now we've run into another issue, these 4 corners. For the corners towards the back of the center console, you'll only want to cut off a small portion like so. From here you'll want to apply the side flap first, followed by the back flap. As you can see on the other side, I applied the back flap first, followed by the side flap, and it doesn't look as nice. Great! Now that the back side is done, it's time to do the front. So all I did was undo the front flap, and I pushed these 2 corner pieces in like so. The adhesive you sprayed on each flap should stick together. Now all you have to do is pull the front flap back in and reapply it like so. Now the final piece can almost be reinstalled. Place this plastic piece here like so. Then go ahead and mark your mounting points. Now you want to use a razor blade or some cutting utensil to cut out the holes for your mounting hardware. Finally, the plastic piece can be placed here like so and mounted down completely. With that final screw installed, let's go ahead and reinstall it in the vehicle. Align the 3 mounting points, then go ahead and screw them down. And that's all there is to it. This project is now completed. Here is one final look at the shift boot and the center console cover. Man, they are looking good. I hope some of you found this video helpful. If you did and you liked it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, maybe even consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys for the next random project. Hello everyone. If you stayed this long, you're in for a treat. Now before I begin, I just wanted to say, everything used in my videos are purchased with my own money. Now with that being said, here's your chance to win your own center console cover and shift boot. The story behind this is, when I first made the purchase with the vendor, I made a comment that I wanted outer stitchings, but I forgot to mention the color. So by default, the vendor chose black. Since I've already installed my set, I'm going to give these set away. Now in order for this set to be qualified for a giveaway, let's aim for 50 likes on YouTube. Once we've reached 50 likes, I will compose all the competitors and I will go live to do a raffle draw. And for you to qualify for the giveaway, 1. You must live in the US or Canada due to shipping costs. 2. Share this video. And 3. Leave a comment below with which year Mark II Supra you own. And with that being said, good luck to you all.